I've been thinking lately about collections, obviously, and something kind of struck me about my mom's collections of Toby mugs and how my brothers and I and my dad, we kind of unwittingly or unknowingly were adding to this collection. Never once did it ever occurred to me through all the years that we were collecting Toby mugs right alongside our mom that we would end up with them. I mean, they were always my mom's collection, and she really did a fantastic job involving us in the collection of it. We would go to peddlers fairs and antique stores, and at a very, fairly young age, we got really good at scanning these tables for things and being able to see right away if that's a Toby mug and whether it was a good one or Royal Doulton or a cheap knockoff. And as my mom's collection grew, she became more discerning. So in the very beginning, the first few years of her collection, everything was, if it had a face with a handle on it, it was a Toby mug. And so she bought it. But as time went on, realized that, oh no, there's the good ones, Royal Doulton and Staffordshire. I mean, the fact that I even know these names uh, should tell you the involvement that my brothers and I had in helping our mom amass her collection. Um, and so I knew all these names, and then we knew what the knockoffs are. And so she ended up with a lot of these cheap knockoff mugs that she no longer displays, but boxed up, and probably has about 100 of them that aren't, the good ones. But the good ones are on display. And something about the Toby mugs is that we learned about all different literary characters that we didn't know. I mean, how many 12-year-olds do you know that know who Falstaff was, or Bacchus, or Captain Cook? Just all these different characters, historical characters, Henry VIII, and of course Winston Churchill, and I mean just all these other historical characters as well as literary characters. Some of them are film stars, or W.C. Fields, people like that. And so, or professions, cobblers and blacksmiths, and just all these different professions as well. And so we really learned a lot about Dickens characters, literary characters, historical, and even contemporary characters through this collection. And so I value that. I really value that experience and our mom involving us in the quest to find, these mugs and all these antique fairs and things. And it's funny is that it wasn't until years later, she's in her 80s at that point, and looking at 100 mugs and realizing, oh my gosh, someday this is going to go to one of us. And I remember when she broke the news to me that she was going to give my brother the mugs, that she felt, because he really, out of the three of us, probably did the most in collecting for her and finding mugs at different peddlers fairs and things. And so she felt that he would really appreciate that. And I told her I thought that was a wonderful idea. But I do look at that collection a little bit differently than I do other collections that I have inherited, because I had a vested interest in the accumulation of these things that you don't see very often. I think when you see like the millennial inheritance videos, a lot of those people that inherited these collections, they didn't take part in the collecting of them. They just simply got the end product, right? All of the things. And so I look at my mom's Toby mug collection a little bit differently, in that it's almost a part of my childhood when I look at it, and I remember all the different places that we went to find these mugs, and just the different stories, the bartering back and forth with the vendor on trying to get a good price for it, and just all of that is what I see when I look at those mugs. So it's just something a little different, and just wondering if there's anybody else out there that, did you contribute to your parents' collections? Were you also involved in the quest to find the perfect, I don't know what, salt and pepper shaker, or whatever it was, but just curious if you too were involved in the collection of these many wonderful treasures.